Hey, what's up, everybody? Remember me? It's been a while. A couple things. You know, we're coming back to life with COVID, so work's been very busy. So I've been busy with that. The last one I made was mid-April. I did the lemon ricotta donuts, and they were so popular. I'd say that was one of my three most popular ones I've done. It was kind of hard to top that one. And the other thing, I got a bit of news. Over the course of COVID, found somebody who I've grown to know and love very much. I'm actually moving in September from Delco to Jersey to be with my girlfriend Becky, who is going to help me make this dish tonight. She's a little camera shy, so we're just going to see her hands as she's rolling some dough. So that's the big news. End of September, the location of this show is going to be moving to South Jersey. So in any event, we're back. So tonight, as I said, we're going to be keeping up with the ricotta cheese, and we're going to go Italian tonight. We're going to make some homemade gnocchis. So that's like a spin on pasta. It's homemade. We did it back in March just to try it out before we shot it, so we feel like we're ready to do it. So gnocchi is something you can do like with veggies. You can do it with a veggie puree. A lot of people do it with potatoes. We're going to do it with ricotta cheese because ricotta cheese is really good. So a couple things. As typical, I would use the real stuff, the whole milk ricotta. So this one, we're going to make a bunch because this is labor intensive, so it's worthwhile to make it in a big bunch. What you can do is freeze these, and then they're good to go whenever you're ready to cook them at a later date. We're actually going to freeze these and let them set up for a little bit before we cook them tonight. So this is a pound of ricotta. For this, we're going to need 2 eggs. We're going to need half a cup of Pecorino Romano, the grated cheese. We're going to need about a tablespoon and a half of olive oil and like half a teaspoon of kosher salt. So before I mix the wet, I'm going to talk about the flour that we're using. So this is special for gnocchis. This is what they call 00 flour. So this is like a finer grade, so it makes when you cook it, it's like silkier and just a better texture. So when I bought this online, this is straight from Italy, I thought it said 1.1 pounds. It turned out to be 11 pounds. So got a lot of use for this. So first we're going to mix everything but the flour. So we're going to get the grated cheese. I'm going to sweep this so you can see a little more. We're going to crack the egg. I'm a little bit out of practice. It's been so long. I feel a little rusty. But onward and upward. Got the eggs. We're going to do half a teaspoon of, if you've got any kind of salt will do, but this recipe calls for kosher salt. And then we're going to do about a tablespoon and a half of the olive oil. So, first thing I'm going to do, and the cheese. We're just going to whisk all this stuff up and get it to a good consistency before we start incorporating the flour. So with any kind of pasta, like homemade, when you're doing the flour, you want to add it gradually, kind of like we did with the baked goods, with the lemon ricotta donuts. You just want to get it to the consistency that you want. So you want to do it gradually. You want to have too little, and then you can add a little bit more. What you don't want to do is go too quickly and get too much. So when you're rolling the dough, when it's time to roll the dough, if you have too much flour in there and it's too tough, then the pasta's going to be tough. It's not going to have the right consistency. So that's what we're looking for, is a more velvety, and you'll see later when we start to roll them, you just want them to be able to hang together for a little bit. You don't want the dough to be too stiff, because you want, if you ever had gnocchi out in a restaurant, it's like very velvety, it's very smooth. So that's what we're looking for here. So with this, I just got some house red gravy from the pasta shop from Napolitano Brothers in Springfield, but this will work with any kind of sauce. And also at the end, we're gonna kind of coat it with a little bit of olive oil, just get a little bit of texture, but not that tough texture. So stay tuned. We'll be back. All right, so we're back. So Beck is rolling up some dough. You want to have some extra flour on the cutting board, and you just want to use your hands gently. Don't overwork it. I'd say maybe like a half, 5/8 of an inch around. And you see how Beck's just gradually rolling it out to the desired width, and kind of making these long snakes basically. And then you cut them, they're no more than an inch long, and then that's about it. So again, we did this with this recipe before. This will yield somewhere between, I'd say 75 to 90 gnocchis, depending on how big you cut them. So sometimes we just cut the edges, because that makes it a little, keeps their shape better. So as you can see, just going down the line. And these, we're probably going to do a flash freeze before we put them in the water for maybe 2 minutes. That's about it. We'll be back when it's time to drop them. Stay tuned. Alright, so we're back. So we're starting to make them. They're starting to come together. I like these to firm up a little bit, so I'll tell you, when we get to the part where we're cooking, we're going to put these in the fridge to let them set up for about 15 minutes before we drop them in the water. Whether or not you're cooking them the same day, or you're freezing them and cooking them later at a later date, it's the same method. It's real easy. All you do is drop them in the boiling water, and when they float to the top, they're done. So maybe 2 or 3 minutes, and that's it. So we're going to put these in the fridge, let them set up for, again, 10 or 15 minutes, and then we'll be putting them in the pot. So tonight, we're just doing a simple red gravy. We got some meatballs in there, and we also got some chicken parm. So this video is for the gnocchi, but and as usual, some fresh bread from Sarcone's. We just got back from Charleston, South Carolina for vacation, which was phenomenal. I'd recommend it to anybody. Great southern food, great seafood, but towards the end of our trip, we both had that craving for some down-home Italian, so that's why we're doing this. So stay tuned. We'll be back. Alright, so we're back. So we did these a little bit smaller than last time, so it ended up being, we counted 113 gnocchis. So what we're starting to do is set them up. So if you have any kind of Tupperware, just line it with wax paper, throw them in there, seal it, throw it in the freezer, and it will be good to go whenever you're ready to cook it. So we got the Napolitano Brothers red sauce going with some meatballs, some chicken parm. We got our water going, so we're just about ready to drop these. Stay tuned. Alright, so we're back. So we're about to drop these. So here they are. They've been in the fridge for a little bit just to firm them up. So no time setting, just drop them in the boiling water. And then when they float to the top, they're ready. So this is optional, but what I'm going to do is when I take them out of the boiling water, I got some olive oil in the pan. I'm just going to coat them for maybe a minute just to give them a little crisp without letting them get too firm. So just going to drop them in and wait for them to float. And that's it. Got the red gravy. It's going to be good. Can't wait to eat them. Stay tuned. Alright, real quick, we're back. So I took these out and just like a minute, just a gentle toss in the olive oil. Like no more than a medium heat. So that's optional, but I like to put a little crisp on them. And when they're done, we're going to garnish it with the gravy. So we'll be right back. Stay tuned. Alright, so we're all done. So we're going to do 15 on each plate, and we're going to put some gravy on there. And I got some fresh basil. Now Becky's going to do the chicken parm. I'm going to do a couple meatballs, so this will be my plate to start. We got some fresh basil in the sauce itself, and then a little bit on top. So just kind of stir it up. There you go. So that's our homemade ricotta gnocchi with your meat of choice. So this is a little more labor intensive, but maybe if you play your cards right, maybe if you donate to my fundraising page for St. Jude, I might just very well come to your house and make these for you. So I'm going to be plugging that from now till September. So everybody be good. We'll be back. See ya.